Oh my God, take 700. Not only have I had pup toilet breaks, torrential biblical weather out there, she's now trying to dig a hole in my sofa. Anyway, good evening, party people. I'm back. I do believe the last time I spoke to you was probably about 3 weeks ago. I've been having a bit of a system reset. So I've sacked off social media for a bit. Only those of you that know me extremely personally and closely have had direct contact with me. The rest of the world has probably wondered where I've gone. But here we are. I just want to check in and talk to you about Mercury Retrograde and how it can be what you decide it to be and how it is largely affected, I think, by your reactions to things. There is a serenity prayer where it says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I think that is really, really, really important when dealing with Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde can either be 3 weeks of extreme tower moments, an extraordinarily expensive time where everything electrical you own breaks down with gusto, or a full torrent of exes come in and bug the living bejesus out of you. That's not anything I've ever known, really, to be fair. Or Mercury retrograde can be a time of deep reflection, of answers, of real extra deep, beyond the basement shadow work. And yes, it can be uncomfortable because shadow work is never comfortable. Growth is never comfortable, right? But it's necessary. And although we're only in the middle of it, we have another 8 days to go, and then we've got another fortnight shadow. I have come to realise that when you do the deep reflection and you just stop and you just blot out all outside influences and you really sit with yourself, and I don't mean post fancy memes and burn incense and tell everyone you're sitting with yourself. I mean, you just don't tell anyone, you just go and do it, right? You get answers. And sometimes Mercury does bring a lot in of past energies. It is known, it doesn't need to be exes, it can be energies of anything. But situations, thoughts, mindsets, sometimes dreams you have, which has been quite a pertinent thing recently for me, is being reminded in dream state of old situations and things you haven't thought about for a while. And your time away off grid gives you time to think about that process, that really unpick it, lay it all out in its full gory glory, and look at it. But the time of realisation is when you realise how much you've progressed on from that. Because you don't realise you've progressed on until you're nudged with it again. You understand what I'm saying? So situations where, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, you would have, air freshener, you would have gone into fight or flight about it, you're now sort of, say lovey, okay, surrender, okay. I think indifference is a bit of a disrespectful word for it, because I think there's still care and emotion attached to how you feel about the situation. But there's a calmness, there's an inner peace, there's a solid, confident acceptance. There's your own control because you've surrendered. I love that. Do they call that an oxymoron, or have I got that wrong? But basically, by letting go, you're gaining more control. Let me know. But thinking about situations and thinking, do you know what? It is what it is. I feel that way about it. I don't care how they feel about the way I feel about it. It is what it is. and the acceptance. And there's no upset attached to it. There's no panic attached to that realization. There's just, yeah, it's liberating. And also thinking about past retrogrades and how the things that would have bothered you in those retrogrades don't bother you so much now. There's a lot to be said for going off grid. You're not being antisocial. There was a video I think I posted a month or two ago about listening to your body and how it's a common misconception that if you're hurting over something and you need to sleep or you're tired, a lot of people say it's with depression. I mean, in some cases it is, but also people, I think these days, are so busy not listening to their bodies. They're so trying to mask everything. It's, let's just pop a pill, let's just eat this, it'll go away. This is, and you need to address things. So I think Mercury Retrograde is a really good time to just stop, think, really contemplate, journal. Doesn't matter how many times that ink runs out, keep on writing. Keep a dream diary. I tell you what, once you start keeping a dream diary and you start journaling and you start listening to the messages you're being sent, you get sent more and more and more and more. Okay. And you don't just get sent them when you're in your unconscious sleep state either. You get sent them when you're driving and stuff like that and doing random things. I'm telling you, when you have the board meeting with yourself, that we should all really have a lot more often than we do, things open up for you massively. So, Mercury Retrograde. Lost for words. Mercury Retrograde. Learn to laugh at yourself. Don't take life or yourself so seriously. Sometimes stuff does go shits up, tits up. Laugh at it. Learn from it. Move on. Okay. Mercury Retrograde is going to be all right. You're going to come out of it next week. You're in its shadow for another 2 weeks, but I never did pay much attention to the shadow shit, to be honest with you, afterwards and before, because it is what it is, and you just got to accept it, haven't you? So, guys, if you be fearing stuff in advance, then that's what you're going to get, because that's the vibration you're putting forward, okay, of fear and worry. You're going to get fear and worry back, because the universe is going, that's what they're asking for. Let's give them what they want. Don't do it. Introspection, answers, be curious, be open, seeking, accepting, receptive, okay? Write it down and journal, because if you look at your journal a year from now, you'll be surprised, okay? My journals go back, I think I've mentioned this in previous videos, 35 years odd. And some things you really think, oh, don't do that, don't do that. A couple of days later, you've done it. Oh, shit. And then you laugh at it. 30 years later, of course you can, because you miraculously got out of it alive. They're good. It's a good look back, but also it's good for shadow work too. So you can look back in your journals and you can think, how do I feel about that now? And it's only when you think how you felt about it at the time, especially when you read those pages all smudged with tears, and you look at it now and you understand it, do you realise how far you've come and how good with yourself you are? Yeah, and how you go from apprentice at that board meeting to CEO. Yeah, so own it. Be yourself. Do yourself. Make peace with yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Okay, accept things for what they are. Have the courage to accept the things you cannot change. And for now, that's my word on it. I just want to get that out there. Cheers. See ya.